Artful Parkies on tour, enjoying painting, raising awareness and living in the moment. This is a Disability Arts Online COVID Commission 2021. The idea, it was to bring new perspectives on Parkinson's through painting. Two artists with Parkinson's disease go on an art tour around Yorkshire in a camper van, connecting, creating and changing perceptions. The artist collaboration was Janet Barnes, diagnosed in 2018 when 47. I'm a retired designer with a PhD in sustainable design, a selling artist and fundraiser. Although Parkinson's is undeniably rubbish, I want to focus on the positive aspects of the diagnosis, how my art has changed and how I can use it to communicate ideas and emotions. I believe that the process of creating art has many therapeutic effects, which will be explored throughout this project. Chris Stanley is a retired teacher of physical education and pastoral head of house. She had to retire through ill health in 2018 as a result of being diagnosed with Parkinson's. Her diagnosis came as a real shock as she fought cancer twice and recovered well with a bone marrow transplant over 25 years ago. Chris wants to develop her painting skills and is using painting as a way of coping and managing the condition. We wanted to do this piece of work so we could connect and develop our personal art practice, and so we can also understand ourselves better and build awareness of the complexities and emotions surrounding the condition, removing the fear and shame that surrounds Parkinson's.
I am Christine Stanley, and here is a cartoon of me standing at an easel. On the 20th of April 2021, I started a new journey. I was invited to join Janet for a painting experience at her outside studio. It was with some trepidation that I committed to this challenge, as I had not painted since I was a teenager. Janet had everything prepared, from paints, paintbrushes, easel and a jug of fresh flowers. I was staggered what I managed to produce. It was a perfectly acceptable acrylic painting with texture, honesty, and I absolutely loved it. This is something I will definitely continue to do, as I got lost in concentration and was able to forget about what I couldn't do and the joy of what I could achieve despite having Parkinson's. My journey would never have started if it wasn't for the chance of meeting Janet, who's a very special addition to my life. A poem by Alison Holloway, with a black and white photo of Janet and Chris by their van, ready to set off on their adventure. Christine and Janet are my two Parkie pals, two impressive ladies, two fine feisty gals. Although the two of them have the self...
I'm Janet, and here is a cartoon of me standing, painting at my easel. I've always been happiest when I've been creative. I left school and developed a career in design, but continued to draw and paint in my spare time and regularly sold commissions. In 2014, I gave up my full-time design job to pursue my passion of painting. We converted an old brick shed at the bottom of the garden into a modest studio, and I started painting more seriously. After I received the unexpected news of a formal diagnosis of Parkinson's disease at the age of 47, I was determined to keep going and trying to enjoy my creative practice. I continue my work to raise awareness of the condition and what it means to me. I love sharing my passion for art with others, and Chris is a perfect student, enthusiastic, a lovely person, and she has a load of raw talent.
A poem by Alison Holloway, with a black and white photo of Janet and Chris by their van, ready to set off on their adventure. Christine and Janet are my two Parkie pals, two impressive ladies, two fine feisty gals. Although the two of them have the self-same diagnosis, they're both very determined to combat their prognosis. Both girls are fighting fit and on a proud mission to raise awareness to all of their troubling condition. Christine is a runner, London Marathon in the bag, a famous ex-PE teacher who's totally fitness mad. She won't let this beat her, a trooper to the last. She'll never ever give in and leaves us all aghast. Janet is a boxer, she packs a heavy punch, so don't ever upset her if she takes you out to lunch. Janet also is an artist, fine creations she can paint, raises lots of money for charity, she should be made a saint. So these two Parky pals are going on a trip. They're taking on a challenge and in a camper van will sit. They will roam the Yorkshire moors and reflect upon their lot. Feeling sorry for themselves, they certainly will not. And as they enjoy the beauty of England's fine green land, they will paint and create art from the brush in their fair hand. And though when they paint, their Parky hand may shake, there's always a glass of Prosecco to keep them wide awake. Parkinson's is a disease for which there is no cure. Devastating news if it comes knocking on your door. But Christine and Janet are a pair of shining lights who won't give in to the pain and will give it to their best fight. Throughout it all, for those who know them well, there's lots of happy banter and Parky stories to tell. For some might have the shakes, others might have a stammer, but look out for my Parky pals, who still are full of glamour. And so I wish them well as they set off on their tour. Please don't forget to wave if two Parky pals pass your door. Life deals us all a hand, don't know what we gonna get, so be like my Parky pals, go for it, and please don't fret.
Day 1. The first day included a lot of driving, disbelief at the beautiful countryside, and we had a dodgy fridge in the camper van. Below is a photo of the gorgeous landscape we encountered, with goats in a compound on a bright sunny day. Chris said, "I just can't believe we're doing this." We painted 2 small acrylic on canvas paintings of the beautiful valley, and we were quite pleased with the outcome. It was good to get started and for Chris to blow away the initial nerves of getting back into painting. Chris ambushed a couple of people walking by with baby Theo, told them about our painting adventure. The woman was a nurse and showed empathy and a fair level of understanding. Highlights of the day: Janet made a fire and marshmallows were toasted. Champagne was drunk from glasses left over from Janet's 50th. We got bitten by a few mosquitoes, but being out in the open air was wonderful. And here is a photo of Chris enjoying her first day of painting in acrylic alongside the resort, an atmospheric landscape of trees in the front of the hills, using a variety of dark greens. Here is my painting in acrylic of Barden, a hill near Skipton, framed by 2 dark trees. Chris's painting of the same scene reveals more of the hills with traces of yellow and red from plant life in fields below the towering monument on the hill. Day 2 and 3. We packed up and left for Robin Hood's Bay. Here are 3 photos of the bay with us posing on the beach and by the calm sea with our dog. The journey was full of heart-stopping lanes with rubbish lorries and slow driving and lots of cyclists. We pitched up and we walked to the beach. There was a wedding, we had coffee on the seafront, and there was a near-death incident with a German Shepherd. And then we came back. We set up our painting gear by the van and set up about painting 2 large acrylic canvases, landscapes. We discussed composition and the depth of field. After much concentration, effort and enjoyment, 2 paintings were created. Neighbours asked for ice, then their large dogs harassed my dog Rosie and knocked my easel over, but no harm was done. We decided the Artful Parkies chat would be well wasted here, so #choose your audience. We were completely in the painting zone, just listening to the sounds of the campsite. A joyous outdoor painting experience. Here is Chris in the camping field, standing by her easel, alongside a photo of Robin Hood's Bay on her phone. She's studying some of the initial brown and yellow outline marks she's laid down for the composition against a white canvas. For this acrylic of Robin Hood's Bay, Chris took a vantage point above, looking across the bay as it sweeps across the canvas. A bright blue sky reflected in the blue of the water. For my acrylic painting of Robin Hood's Bay, I chose a vantage point further back from the bay itself, bringing a field of yellow flowers into the foreground, stippling the sky with blues and whites to give a sense of the balmy breeze in the air. Day 4. We walked and talked from Robin Hood's Bay to Whitby by the coastal path. The two photos show the steep craggy cliffs and narrow path under a blue sky dotted with cumulus clouds. The fresh air woke us up and the scenery worked wonders for our moods. It was 6 miles to Whitby, so after grabbing some lunch we caught a taxi back so we could get on with some more painting. We started painting outside, but due to the weather finished our paintings in the van. It was a frustrating afternoon. Chris found the different challenges of still life hard, but between us we managed to achieve 2 interesting pieces. Here is Chris in our camper van, sitting at the table putting some finishing touches to her small canvas she holds in her left hand. Rosie the dog sits opposite, resigned to taking it easy for a bit. We decided that the kettle summed up our happy place, and each of us embarked on a still life of the kettle, both pictured here side by side in the window of the camper van. Day 5. Our last walk on the beach, and we packed up and left for our final night in South Yorkshire. Chris is pictured here on the beach holding an ice cream next to another on her bright sunshine outside the van. One last photo shows the scenes of Robin Hood's Bay we captured in paint. It was a melancholy day today, a long journey with lots of traffic as we headed towards home after such a satisfying few days. We found a campsite breaking up the journey as we headed south. The campsite was pleasant, but we didn't feel inspired by our surroundings. So when we set up our easels, I suggested we attempt something more abstract. Chris created an interpretation of round haystacks that we'd seen on the journey home, and I created an expression of the headspace and weightlifting I'd experienced during this trip. We found these paintings frustrating and were not particularly happy with the outcomes, but the process was still valuable. We had lots of chat and interest in our project from the campsite owners. And here is Hayfield, an acrylic on canvas by Chris Stanley. And here's a picture of Headspace, acrylic on canvas by myself, Janet Barnes. And here's a picture of the Artful Parkies collection that we created during the days on tour.
One final evening of pizza, wine and reflections. Thank you Disability Arts Online for making this happen. During this week we've developed as artists and people dealing with Parkinson's, but most of all as friends. We've experimented with painting techniques and styles and aired frustrations and annoyance at our abilities. We've talked lots and we've also been silent when becoming totally engrossed in the process of painting. We've discovered new beauty in the Yorkshire coastline and countryside that's been the backdrop of a new kind of sharing and companionship. We're both totally committed to painting as a way of expression and mindfulness, something that we can develop and enjoy together.